When you're learning Mandarin Chinese, you've probably noticed that some words seem to have the exact same definition, but they're used in totally different ways. It can be really confusing. So in this explainer, we're going to break down some of the most common ones and get them cleared up for good.
Does this look familiar? You see two words that both mean not, or two words that both mean to, and you're left scratching your head, wondering which one you're supposed to use. You know, it's a classic roadblock for learners, but trust me, the logic behind these pairs is actually super straightforward once you see it later.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with a really fundamental one from HSK1, then build on that with a couple of key pairs from HSK2, and after that, we'll tackle a tricky time-related pair from HSK3. And to finish, we'll wrap it all up with the single most important idea to help guide you. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so our first stop is HSK1. We're starting with what is probably the first big hurdle for most beginners, the two ways to say not. This is one of those distinctions that once you really get it, will make your sentences sound so much more natural right away.
Here it is. This is the core rule, and it's actually beautifully simple. Bu is for saying no or not about right now, the future, or just general habits. Meiyo, on the other hand, is all about the past. If you want to say something didn't happen, it's always meiyo. Let's see how this works with some examples.
Take a look at the context here. This sentence isn't talking about a specific meal I ate yesterday. It's a general statement. It's a habit or a preference. I don't like spicy food. It's just generally true for me. And because it's a habit, we use bu. Now let's look at the other side. See that first time word? 昨天, yesterday. That's our big clue. This sentence is about a specific event in the past that did not happen. And because we're talking about a past action, we have to use meiyo. You would just never use bu here.
So the big takeaway here, it all comes down to time. Are you talking about a general state, a habit, or a future plan? Use bu. Are you talking about a past event that didn't happen? It's got to be meiyo. It really is as simple as that.
All right, let's level up to HSK2. At this stage, the words can get a little more nuanced, but the same basic principle of looking at the context still applies. We're going to look at two pairs that trip people up all the time: how to say to and how to say to no.
Yeah, I know. It sounds pretty basic, right? The number two? But Chinese actually has two completely different words for it, and you can't just swap them. Getting this little detail right makes a huge difference in how fluent you sound. So here's the deal. Is the numeral itself. Just think of it as the digit 2. You use it for things like phone numbers, dates, or when you're just counting up. 1, 2, 3. 一二三. Now, liang is used for quantity. When you have two of something, 2 people, 2 cats, 2 cups of coffee, you use liang, and it's almost always followed by a measure word.
This is a perfect example of February is literally month 2. We aren't counting 2 different months here. We're just referring to the second month in the sequence. It's a numeral, so we use It's the same for second floor, which is low.
Now, look at this. We're counting 2 separate things, books. So we have to use liang. And you see that character right after it. Ben, that's the measure word for books. Liang and a measure word are a classic combo. You'll always see them together. 2个人, 2 people. 2支笔, 2 pens.
Okay, so counting is sorted. Let's move on to knowing. This next pair, 知道 and 认识, is confusing for a lot of people because in English they both just translate to know. But in Mandarin they refer to totally different kinds of knowledge.
So here's the difference. 知道 is for knowledge you have in your head. We're talking facts, information, answers to questions. If you can learn it from a book, you probably 知道 it. 认识, however, is about being familiar with something or acquainted with someone. You 认识 people, places, or even brands that you recognize.
You see, the answer to a question is a piece of information. It's a fact stored in your brain. Because of that, the only word that works here is 知道. You can 知道that Paris is the capital of France, but you can't 认识 that fact.
This example shows the difference perfectly. Here we're talking about being acquainted with a person, a familiarity you've built up over time. You 认识 a person. For example, I might 知道 who the prime minister is, but I definitely don't 认识 him personally.
So let's do a quick recap on that. Is the number 2 itself. Liang is a quantity of 2 things. 知道 is for knowing information. And 认识 is for knowing people. Once you think about it that way, it all starts to click into place.
Moving on up to HSK3, we find another pair of words that are tied to time. This one's all about repetition, doing something again. And the difference between them is once again wonderfully logical. It's all about whether you're looking to the future or back at the past.
This is another one of those beautifully clear-cut rules. Zai means again, but specifically for the future. You use it when you're talking about something that is going to happen again. Yo also means again, but it's for an action that has already been repeated in the past. So Zai looks forward and yo looks back.
The key word here is mingtian, tomorrow. We're making a plan to repeat the action of talking, but in the future. So we have to use zai. In fact, think about the common way to say goodbye, zai jian. It literally means again, see you again, sometime in the future.
And here, again, the time frame is everything. We're talking about 昨天, yesterday. The rain is a repeated action that happened in the past. It's also worth pointing out that yo can sometimes carry this slightly frustrated tone, like, it rained again yesterday. It really emphasizes that the repetition has already happened.
So we've gone through saying not, counting to 2, knowing things, and doing things again. And through all of these examples, there's been a common thread, a key that unlocks not just these words, but pretty much the whole language.
If there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. Don't just memorize the English translations. They will often let you down. The real secret to getting this right is to always look at the context. Ask yourself, is this past or future? Is it a number or a quantity? A fact or a person? Context is everything. Understanding that logic will help you way more than just memorizing vocabulary lists ever will.
Every single one of these confusing word pairs is like a little puzzle, and each one has a logical solution just waiting for you to find it. Now that you know to focus on context instead of just direct translation, you basically have the master key. The only question left is, what will you clarify next?